This time, for sure.
And at last, Josuke's story ends. Okay, so... Oh! Looks like I can go with my original plan after all. I was originally going to go with Teddy next. Oh, no. No. That does seem to be the plan. My original plan was to go with was to alternate between Persona 3 and Persona 4 characters. But I just finished the Persona 4 character, and it's a kind of uneven. So I'm going to use Teddy as sort of an in-between character. Oh no, not Teddy. Naoto, because she's in both stories.
What follows are my impressions of the organization called the Shadow Operatives, as well as their leader, Mitsuru Kirijo.
My fingers fly across the keyboard. My last case was special. I need to complete my report before I forget my important details. My name is Naoto Shirogane. I'm a detective. The Shirogane family has been working as detectives for generations. Though I'm young and still in high school, I have been given the opportunity to take on several cases and have built up experience as a detective. Oh, by the way, an interesting fact. This actually had a bit of an this character actually had a bit of an influence on Arc System Works, who developed this game, and they actually brought in a character in Blaze Blue called Naoto Kurogane. Though, as I understand it, he has no connection to this Naoto in any way. Like he just has a similar name. That's all. My work has earned me some trust. As every so often, the police will come to me for my assistance. That's where the story begins. A sudden request from the Inaba Police Department. That was about a month ago, early April. Last summer, I had received a request from the prefectural police to come to the town of Inaba. A bizarre series of murders was occurring, and a corpse would turn up every morning after a foggy night. In the end, it turned out to be one of the most difficult cases of my career. It's been about 2 weeks since the last case was closed. No, from the public's viewpoint, 4 months have passed since the crimes were stopped. The culprit has been arrested and prosecuted. Peace has returned, but with it comes a depressing proposition. I'm not unwilling to help the police again, but my involvement with the previous case is not something I'd like to go through again. To be completely honest, that particular case was no simple series of murders. During the course of my investigation, I obtained a supernatural power known as my persona, making me more than just a detective. I collaborated with other Persona users and became directly involved with the series with the events of the case. Of course, if I was to tell to the police, it would be treated as nonsense. Worst case scenario, I'd be discredited. Having to leave out those details while explaining the events of the case is more than a little nerve-wracking and feels like lying, but there you have it. While on my way to the police department for the case, I go through a list of possible questions and answers I would need. Something's different today, though. After greeting the receptionist, I'm not led to the usual dull meeting room. Instead, I'm taken to the reception area on the top floor. A leather trimmed sofa, a leather trimmed sofa, a curved wooden table, a nouveau riche setting.
Looks like this may take some time.
If this was going to be paperwork and basic questioning, they wouldn't have brought me into the special room. Is it a new case? I have to wait several minutes before someone comes to speak with me. When the door finally opened, and a man wearing a suit not fitting of the uniform of a local officer walks in.
Sorry about the wait.
He hands me his card. Yeah, I don't think we met. I don't believe we met this guy yet. I think he only appeared in 2 stories. This one and Mitsuru's.
Allow me to introduce myself.
His card has a lengthy title: National Police Agency, Security Bureau, Security Planning Division. I was shocked. They're more commonly known as the Public Safety Police. The Security Planning Division is the command center of the departments that handle terrorist threats, coup d'etat plots, and foreign affairs. The secret police also belong to this group. But why would a person of such importance come all the way to a rural locale like this? I look him in the eyes. He appears to be measuring me up.
I see you're enough on the ball that you don't need a lengthy introduction. Good.
Without any further talk, the man gets to his point.
Have you heard of the Killjoy group?
I doubt there are many who haven't.
I'll get right to the point. We'd like to hire you to perform a sub rosa investigation on them.
That's a term I never heard before, sub rosa.
You need a corporation quietly investigated. Why me? I don't see what I can do that your own department cannot.
I would agree if shadows and personas weren't involved.
Yeah, for anyone who's not familiar with the series, the whole deal with shadows and personas is kind of a secret. It's not exactly widely known. This time I'm unable to hide my surprise. But the man continues, either failing to see or purposefully ignoring my reaction.
Summer 12 years ago, there was an explosion at the Killjoy-owned Tatsumi Port Island, killing over 50 people.
Which was a plot point to Persona 3.
You would have been very young at the time.
By the way, information leaked, there's a remake coming out. I am super psyched for that.
I've reviewed that case. The official explanation was that a gas main leaked during a construction project. Afterwards, though, a bizarre rumor saw quite a bit of circulation.
The mass media noticed that there was a suspiciously large number of researchers amongst the casualties. They floated the theory that the official explanation was a lie, and that the explosion was really caused by some dubious experiment.
Surely not!
No concrete evidence was ever found to support those claims, though. As I recall, the matter was left unsettled. Some may still remember the incident, though I don't think many could recall the finer points.
Those rumors were all true.
His voice becomes firm.
Those researchers under Koetsu Kirijo, the old Kirijo group manager, were working on harnessing the power of shadows. The experiment went awry, and they lost control of the shadows. That's what caused the explosion.
Experiments using shadows. They lost control? Are you saying the shadows flooded the city? The real world?
I can't speak to that. There was no way of getting hard answers back then. No one took the spooky stories seriously.
Not to mention, they did more than just flood the city. They friggin' altered time and space.
But that accident got the government and the police's attention. Though they didn't launch an investigation until a year or two ago.
That couldn't be helped. Law can only preside over the world as we know it. Things that can't be explained can't be governed.
Only those in the Killjoy group know exactly what happened and how much of the aftermath was dealt with.
The aftermath?
The word has a bad ring to it. It brings to mind a cover-up of some dark secret.
Their cleanup efforts continued until quite recently. They were using some method known only to them, entirely behind our backs. We think they've been conducting illegal activities in the 10 years since then, while hiding behind their cleanup efforts.
I don't think that was ever confirmed. I mean, we know Mitsuru's grandpa was a jackass, and her father was actually a decent guy. But I imagine the cleanup efforts were due to Mitsuru's father. Though, admittedly, some shady stuff did kind of happen, and during his time as head of the company.
And you wish for me to confirm this?
Not only do you have a relationship with us, you have a persona and extensive experience in the field. We can't think of a better candidate.
And since I'm not directly affiliated with the police, if I were to be caught in a trap, it wouldn't lead back to you.
If that's the way you want to put it.
My reply was meant to be sarcastic, but this conversation is exceptionally draining. I must applaud public safety. They know everything about anybody they choose to investigate. There's no point in trying to bargain with them. He continues explaining indifferently, as if able to sense my resignation.
Last year, in conjunction with the Killjoy group, we established an unofficial department in the force, nicknamed the Shadow Operatives.
I just love that this whole this is such a badass silhouette pic, and then you take a look at the one that's obviously Junpei, and he's slouching like hell.
It's a special unit capable of dealing with shadow-related cases.
This is news to my ears. That's a rather bold move. You went so far as to join forces with the ones you suspect of illicit activities?
That's exactly why we did it. We must keep a leash on them by integrating them into the system.
But the police are far behind information-wise. Officially, you are higher on the chain of command, but less so in practice.
I tried throwing out a theory as I begin to get a grasp on what's taking place. The man didn't so much as flinch, but he didn't give me much of an answer either.
Need some leverage to keep your hold on them. Thus, this secret investigation. What exactly do you want me to do?
That will depend on your answer.
So that's their game plan. I figured as much. An organization as big as the Killjoy group is hiding the secret about shadows. Now, should I take the job or not? As a person with persona abilities, I'm naturally interested in learning how much is known about shadows. But this job could potentially give me leverage over the government in the future. While I'm deep in thoughts, the man continued as if he can read my
If
mind.
you think we're hiring you to further our organization, you're mistaken.
I can't help but look up at the obvious change in his tone.
Our sources say it's possible that they've been talking students from a Killjoy-owned school into doing their dirty work.
exactly wrong?
They've been pleading ignorance while making ordinary kids clean up whatever messes they've left.
I mean, kinda, but kinda not.
And that we don't forgive. We're supposed to be upholding the law. We can't overlook things like this.
Well, you gotta give him this. He's an honest guy. He's surprisingly sincere. He's staring right at me, and like before, his eyes are strong and bold. He truly doesn't want anyone innocent to suffer. Of course, this could be an act to convince me, but even then, I do agree with that opinion. All that remains is to find out Kirijo's intentions.
In that case, I accept. Though I don't plan on abandoning my school life here. I'll do what I can to help, but only within those limits.
I would never have dictated conditions like this before. The reason I had come to this town and transferred to Yasagami High School was for my investigation. But the school life and the dear friends that I've gained have become irreplaceable to me. It may sound childish to demand that I stay with my friends, but if they refuse to budge in that regard, that's that. However,
That's fine with us.
he accepts my condition almost too easily, then immediately begins to explain the details of the
At
case.
the end of this month, the Kirijo group is airlifting some special cargo. Kirijo has asked our help in making sure the cargo is transported safely.
That would be the transport of Labras.
We'd like you to accompany them as a police observer.
What do they mean, transported safely?
A police escort, assurance of no public investigation if any unforeseen situation were to arise. Things like that. Of course, if anything does happen, we will hold them responsible.
And what is this special cargo?
It's something to do with the shadow research. They've admitted that much, but we don't know the exact details. According to our research, it's most likely something from the old ergonomics research laboratory, classified as risk level 4. In other words, even though it's sealed up tight, it's extremely dangerous.
They even have a risk scale for things like this. It seems like Kirijo's research goes into a variety of different things.
So,
As I'm thinking, the man slides a photograph to me. It's a beautiful young lady. Her eyes show strong will, as striking as her blazing red hair. That hair reminds me of something. I may have seen her picture while going through the documents regarding the Port Island incident. Of course, the girl in those pictures was much younger.
this woman will be on that flight. Her name is Mitsuru Kirijo.
Kirijo.
She's the oldest daughter of the Kirijo family, Koetsu Kirijo's granddaughter. It was he who devised the experiments 12 years ago.
And I don't think I've stressed enough over the course of the series that I hate Koetsu. That should have been easily apparent from Labras's story.
You should know that she's also a powerful persona user.
A persona user besides us. I was suspecting something like this, but to hear it out loud is still shocking. So there are persona users other than those involved in the case last year.
She took the lead in gathering students 3 years ago when she was still in high school. We'd like you to first go to her residence and meet with her.
All right.
I'm sure you figured out by now, since she's a high-ranking Kirijo group official and a persona user, but she's a shadow operative. She's member number 1, the general manager. And not because she's a Kirijo, but because she has the abilities to back it up.
Yeah, like, no kidding. And, like, for anyone not in the know, personas have the, personas generally lean towards support or combat. Mitsuru's can do both. though it specializes more in combat.
Can you do this? If she's dirty, then this won't be easy for you.
I already accepted your assignment, so I must simply make the best of it.
I offer my hand. He has the firm grip of someone who's working on the front lines of the law. A few days later, I receive a message informing me of that transport. The transport is to be on the 1st of May. It's on a school day, but since I've taken the job, there's nothing I can do about it. In fact, I should be glad that this didn't overlap with the extended holiday. I haven't heard the details, but I expect to have some important arrangements during Golden Week. Arrangements to reunite with my upperclassman, Yu Narukami, who was the leader of our group during last year's incident. I keep thinking about our reunion. It's only been 2 weeks since he left, but it feels much longer. I suppose that goes to show how much I'm looking forward to it. But I'm going off track. I need to think about my new job, so I hastily pull myself together. Why am I at 0 frames? Alright, am I being seen? Yeah, I'm seeing it on my end. Sorry about that, guys. I have to use a relay in order to stream, because Twitch isn't very kind to streamers in my country, and this seems to happen every now and then, especially around this time. May 1st. The cargo is due to be transported from the laboratory near Killjoy Mansion. I make my way to the mansion to present myself and end up accompanying the security detail. The limousine is incredibly long. Apparently, it isn't all that rare for the upperclassmen in other countries to ride in cars this large, but it's downright comical on the tiny roads of Japan. That is where I met Mitsuru Killjoy in person.
Nice to meet you. My name is Naoto Shirogane. I'll be acting as an observer today.
I've been told about you. It's nice meeting you as well. I'm Mitsuru Killjoy.
I was going to make a comment about two members of the same Arcana meeting each other, but no, that's not right. Mitsuru is of the Empress, and I believe Naoto's of the Wheel of Fortune. Her beauty is enough to attract anyone's attention. She was so much less imposing than in the picture.
I didn't expect the police's observer to be so young.
Does that bother you?
Oh, no. I didn't mean to downplay your abilities. Forgive me.
I take a look at Kirijo-san's face. She's the only daughter of the founding family, but it's been 2 years since she renounced the practice of the Kirijo group being run by the family. In other words, she's simply the CEO's daughter now, not the heir to the company. She must be used to constant stress, being a female leader at such a young age. Getting people to acknowledge her must have been a struggle. I don't need to mince my words in dealing with types like her. I decide to cut to the chase.
Tell me, what are the contents of your cargo?
I'm ashamed to have to admit this, but since the original researchers have passed away, we don't know what's in it either. We can't allow the worst-case scenario for such an item to come to pass in the middle of a city. That's why we plan to transfer these items to a distant facility according to their indicated risk level.
a natural decision. Her posture, her actions, if that was all an act, I must commend her for her ability to deal with the unexpected. But personally, my impression is that she's a trustworthy person. Before leaving, I had a chance to see the Killjoy mansion. I have to say, it's surprisingly simple. It felt as though it was prioritizing function and efficiency over meaningless luxury, perhaps a reflection of her own personality. At any rate, her intelligence and presence are proof enough of her upbringing. If she was hiding something, it would be hard to figure out.
Then I'll stay near the cargo along with the police escort. I'll contact you immediately if anything happens.
All right. If anything is unclear to you, feel free to ask me.
Her eyes look straight at me, and I feel like she could see through. She could see through anything. I end our conversation shortly after, and quietly wait for us to arrive. The limousine transport truck and multiple security cars reached the airport without any incident. The cargo may be dangerous, but according to the records, it was kept safely in storage for the past 10 years. Plus, it's worthless to the average person. Because of this, the people involved in security don't look tense. Killjoy-san hands her servant her travel bag. It's almost as if she's simply going on vacation.
Shima. Huh.
The plane's destination is one of the southern islands. I'm sure it'd be fun to go with everyone. Okay, for everyone, what do you mean controller's been disconnected? For anyone who's not familiar with Persona 3, Yakushima was the name of the island that the P3 gang went to for summer break. And that's where they met Igus. Excuse me. Why isn't it turning on? What? That was weird. Just for some reason, and my screen turned off. I thought the plug got loose, but no. Apparently, the switch was just enough off the on setting to turn it off. But yeah, Yakushima was where they met Igus. I'm sure it'd be fun to go with everyone. I realize what I'm thinking, and I have to laugh to myself. A year ago, I would have considered that it would be fun to spend some. I would never have discovered it would. A year ago, I would never have considered that it would be fun to spend time with others. But I can't help but think that way now. Soon they'll begin moving the cargo out of the truck. I clear my mind of daydreams and look back to the truck. They pass through the gate for large cargo shipments. The shipment is in imposing metal cases, but among all other shipping containers, it doesn't attract much attention from the airport staff. It's not long before the final case is unloaded from the truck. It's obviously different from the rest. It's covered in what seems to be heavy industrial-grade steel. About a meter wide and broad, and 2.5 meters tall. Seems like something very special is in there. But even if someone was targeting the shipment, it would be impossible to steal that. 4 men in suits slowly tip the case sideways and place it on the cart. Seeing it on its side reminds me of something. It looks like a coffin. The moment I realize that, a shiver runs down my spine. It does look big enough for a person to lie down in. Could there really be someone inside? Could it be that this tight security is not to prevent theft, but to keep the cargo from escaping? Now, how can I imagine things like this without any proof? I shake my head to clear it of these pointless thoughts. Am I just shaken because I heard this has something? Because I heard this has something to do with shadows? Eventually, the check-in process is completed, and the announcement to begin boarding echoes through the airport. I relaxed a little, relieved that nothing has happened up to this point. Once the plane takes off, the only thing in our way is the sky. I had to put on an earpiece tuned into the police radio to keep up with the current situation. So far, nothing was out of the ordinary. Killjoy's group finished checking in and had boarded the plane. The cargo should be loaded soon. After I supervise that, I check in and suddenly an urgent voice jumps onto the broadcast.
Squawk code has changed to 7500.
7500.
I have trouble mentally shifting gears after the long period of inactivity. I never imagined I would hear that number with my own ears.
7500. A hijacking?
Yep. Is the plane I'm investigating being hijacked? That can't be a coincidence. Could this have been a setup by the police or the Killjoy group? No, there's no benefit for either of them to get involved with the general public. So if that's the case,
Cargo they want?
there really is someone after the cargo. Wait, if they're after the cargo, why hijack the plane? If they're not trying to steal the cargo, could they be after Killjoy-san? No, that doesn't feel right. Hijacking isn't an efficient method to carry out a kidnapping or an assassination. Yeah, hijacking is pretty public. If they have the time and the resolve to pull this off, they would be far better off trying to take over the plane in mid-flight. I can't figure out their objective. Why would they do something that attracts so much attention? Attention. This is a very peculiar time to attempt to take over the airplane. Very peculiar indeed. Hijacking before departure forfeits the biggest benefit of hijacking. But at the same time, all normal airport operations will come to a halt while everyone turns their focus on the plane in question. The airport will naturally stop uploading luggage onto the plane while the hijacking goes on. It's the perfect distraction. So they are after the cargo.
If that was the case, the hijacking is only a decoy. But would they really risk their lives hijacking a plane over one piece of cargo?
As I think, I scanned the area from my viewpoint and up in the boarding area. I see a van that had been parked near the cargo area suddenly peel out. A suspicious departure at this time? I have a bad feeling about this. But the cargo was just unloaded right in front of my eyes. I didn't see anyone steal it. Hold on. The 4 men in suits with the handcart. I don't see them. I lost track of them in the rush of activity after the hijack call. I grind my teeth and interrupt the radio call.
002, over. A suspicious vehicle is leaving the scene. Stay in pursuit. It's a large vehicle, about 2 tons. License plate.
I hear someone confirming with Roger, but there's shouting and confusion going on in the background. Unsure if my intentions have been understood. I run across the airport by myself. I need to grab hold of these people's tail, if only to get at a few hairs. Of course, there's no way I can catch a vehicle on foot, but I have a plan. I run down the escalator and bolt for the passenger pickup area at the arrivals lobby. I look around outside and there it is, just as I thought. The suspicious vehicle was coming this way. The airport's road layout is a loop. After leaving the departure lobby, cars must take a turn and curve back around to the arrival lobby before being able to reach the surface streets. I hide in the crowd and wait for the van to get close. And as it passes by, I throw a small sticky lump. Luckily for me, it strikes and sticks, low on the van side. There's a compact tracker in there. You'd have to be pretty close to pick up the signal, but it's better than nothing. I take my hat off and wipe my forehead. The pedestal around me begin to stir. The pedestrians around me begin to stir. Pedestals, what? Everyone stop. Darn it. Everyone stops and stares at their smartphones. I didn't need to look. I knew. The first news of the hijacking is hitting the media. I put my hat back on and pull the brim low. I'll have to be careful not to let all the information flying about confuse me. I keep my guard up as I quickly walk back to the departure lobby. Another 45 minutes pass without any more clear information coming through. There's chaos on the radio and people are in a panic. But after an hour, the confusion suddenly stops and a shocking report comes in.
On scene. The suspects have been apprehended. The hijacking is over. I repeat.
They dealt with it so soon?
Thanks to P3 Best Girl! Though some passengers were ill, there were no casualties. As far as I know, the hijackers didn't even make any demands. It's hard to think that the police could have negotiated with them. But on the other hand, there's no indication that the special assault team had stormed the plane. Did the group surrender now that their decoy objective was complete?
What's going on here?
Just then, a radio call came in directly for me.
Operator to 002, over. The hijacking has been dealt with, but the transfer must be canceled. The whereabouts of one piece of cargo cannot be confirmed. All indications are that it has been stolen.
Then that vehicle earlier. Are you still in pursuit?
We're tracking it through the N system. Head to the guest room immediately so we can discuss our response.
It looks like my call to report that suspicious van had not been a mistake.
Understood.
Soon after, the involved parties were gathered in the conference room. Regis-san and the police are talking hurriedly. A good number of this quickly put together team are not aware of the confidential nature of this matter. I imagine things won't be proceeding so smoothly. And at any rate, the van on the run can be tracked through the end system. The hijackers were handed over to the airport police, while those of us who knew the truth about the cargo were moved on to one of her buildings.
That was a very tidy operation. I had thought it would take at least half a day.
To put it delicately, we had someone with special abilities handling this.
P3 best girl!
Then again, though we prevented any harm from coming to the hostages, we lost the cargo.
Nothing for it, I suppose. Who would have expected an entire hijacking to cover up the theft of some cargo? I must apologize to you as well. I was the closest at hand when it happened.
No, you did more than enough. It's thanks to your sharp eyes that we're able to track the suspicious vehicle now. I'm impressed that you realized in all the chaos that the cargo was the true target. You even spotted their getaway truck.
Thank you. Our next step should be to interrogate the suspects in custody and...
Sadly, it won't be that simple. I haven't heard much yet, but it seems they're having unexpected difficulties with the interrogation. It will take some time.
If they were prepared to risk their lives for this operation, I suppose they won't break so easily.
We made an error in judgment. We were too focused on preventing the item itself from doing any damage.
But since they targeted something so unusual, that should narrow down the suspect pool.
I can't deny it's possible that someone connected to the Killjoy group is behind this. Thank you for your assistance, Shirogane. I'm sorry to have involved you in this mess, but the professionals will take it from here.
This is kind of funny because they're rather on level with each other, which kind of works because I think they're the two girls in their respective Persona games who are most related to intelligence. Professionals, in other words, she plans to investigate this herself as a shadow operative. But by that I mean, like, in order to advance their respective social links, you need to keep you need to keep upgrading your intelligence to certain milestones.
Does that mean my work here is done?
I'm afraid so. We do value your cooperation.
This is a bit of a pickle. The Killjoy group and the police want to keep this under wraps. That is, they cannot open a public investigation. On top of that, the shadow operatives are technically an organization working for the police, so there's no room for freelancers here. Which means there's no need for me to be involved in the investigation any further. Insisting to stay on this case would only draw attention. With no other choice, I decide to take my leave. It must have meant chaos at the office. Despite the unusual events, the man who hired me has not yet gotten in touch. I entertained the thought of returning home to Inaba, but luckily enough, I brought not enough luggage for a short trip out of town. I decide to stay the night at a business hotel near the airport and wait while for my client to contact me. Time passes. At 9 o'clock, I finally receive a phone call from the man.
Things have taken an unexpected turn. This case is under the jurisdiction of the shadow operatives now.
That will make it very difficult to continue my secret investigation.
But right now, you're the only one we have who's gotten that close. We heard you earned Killjoy's trust after the hijacking. We'd like you to keep up your investigation. We're currently making arrangements for you to pick it up again in a natural way.
How exactly do you pick up an investigation like that in a situation like this in a natural way?
What are you going to have me do? I will not act as a spy.
I'll be in touch later.
just does not answer. Just bye. I sigh. I feel a weight in my heart. This has a high possibility of turning into a private investigation from the shadows. Pretty much a polite way of saying corporate espionage. If I'm to take this job, I need to have some sort of plan. At any rate, I cannot plan any movements without knowing how the situation is progressing. It would be far better to prepare for tomorrow instead of getting worked up with worry. I read the newspaper and watched some of the coverage of today's events, then go to bed early. A day passes, and even by the night of May 2nd, the man has not contacted me again. It seems the police are having trouble zeroing in on the suspicious vehicle. Considering the skill with which the crime was pulled off, I wouldn't be surprised if that van had been dumped somewhere and the cargo loaded onto another vehicle. Going through all the possibilities is just a way to kill time. But it's the only thing I can do. Nothing happened until the sky began to darken as the sun went down. My phone finally rang. But surprisingly, the name on the screen brought a smile to my face.
Yes, Shirogane speaking.
Hi, Naoto-kun. Oh, I'm not interrupting your work, am I?
No, it's quite alright.
Sorry to call so late. I wanted to at least give it one more shot about tomorrow.
That's right. So much has been happening that I completely forgot the school holidays start tomorrow. And of course, we're supposed to have our reunion with Yuzu-senpai when he visits from the city tomorrow. I was supposed to be able to meet up with them. I didn't imagine that I'd be stuck here for 3 days, thanks to the attempted hijacking at the airport. But since I've undertaken the job, I have obligations that I can't just abandon. I'm starting to actually feel some anger toward whoever the culprits are.
Sorry, but it seems I still won't be able to make it. I'm actually not in Inaba at the moment, to be honest.
Oh, yeah, you mentioned that. Oh, then I guess you can't check even if it rains.
Even if it rains?
Oh, nothing. Just talking to myself.
What was that?
Okay, Naoto-kun, I know there are people who'd be in trouble without you. You need to stay there and help them out.
Yes, well...
Help them out, huh? It irritates me to know that I'm going to do this pretty much... It irritates me to know that what I'm going to do is pretty much spy work.
It really is a shame. Give my regards to Senpai and the others, won't you?
Will do. Good luck with the job.
I hung up the phone. Seeing my dear senpai again. I feel that's much more important than a job with an uncertain outcome, and I feel a little sad that I'm going to miss it. Maybe I should just turn the case down and make a surprise visit
I
tomorrow.
wonder if any train would make it in time.
But it looks like the case is not about to let me leave. After my talk with Chie-san, I began to prepare for bed. And that's when the public safety official called me again.
It seems we may be back on for the secret investigation. Mitsuru Kirijo just requested our cooperation. We agreed. A detective by the name of Kurosawa will be heading out tomorrow. We want you to accompany him to the rendezvous point.
And anyone not familiar with P3, Kurosawa was the police officer who actually functioned as a weapon shop in Persona 3. When I asked about this Kurosawa fellow, I received an unanticipated answer. Apparently, he had helped Kirijo-san's activities on his own while he was a constable. Even though his superiors didn't understand what Kirijo-san was up to, he followed his own instincts and helped her protect his town. Normally, he would be punished for this, but the situation took a 180-degree turn thanks to the establishment of the Shadow Operatives. His knowledge has been invaluable, and rather than being disciplined, and he has been promoted to plainclothes detective.
Kurosawa is willing to leak you whatever info he learns about the Kirijo group through his cooperation with them.
I'm surprised he agreed to that. Hasn't he assisted Kirijo-san and her group in the past?
I'm afraid that's something you'll have to ask him about, although he seems to have his own agenda.
I confirmed several other details before ending the call. Detective Kurosawa. If he's working with the Kirijo group, it could be something of a problem. But if they have information to leak, that means they must have located the vehicle in question. Still considering how long it took them to find it, I may be in for a long trip. Where am I going to be sent now? I shrugged to myself. The next day, May 3rd, I meet with Detective Kurosawa. I expected someone who looked shadier, but the man appeared hardworking and honest.
I'm Naoto Shiragane. Thank you for your assistance.
I've heard rumors about you, Ace Detective. Let's get going.
We make our greeting brief, and I get into Detective Kurosawa's car. I love how that's plainclothes. And also, doesn't look shady. I mean, in all fairness, Kurosawa always looked oddly shady, but yeah, he was a very honest, he was an honest-to-goodness detective. He was an honest-to-goodness officer, I should say. A private investigation in a location that I have no prior knowledge or experience of. This was a depressing job in the first place, and the addition of more and more unknown variables is only making me more displeased with it.
Pretty listless.
Oh no, I'm fine. Where are we headed, by the way?
The place where they found the getaway car from the hijacking. A town called Inaba. It's a small place with an odd history. They just had a bizarre serial murder case there last year.
Inaba?
I can't stop the surprise from showing in my voice.
It's your hometown, right? Isn't that why they're sending you?
I'm at a loss for words, but Detective Kurosawa continues instead of waiting for me to reply.
The list I got from the shadow operatives was to assist in gathering information about those murders. They want me to meet with a supervising detective of that case and ask him for the full story. Not only are they part of public safety, they're an unofficial unit. They can't come to the district police for information.
Why him? Is his case related to the robbery in some way?
Public safety is sharper than you might think. They do basic reviews on all cases to see if shadows were involved. Inaba is on their watch list now. And with that cargo being brought there, they naturally suspect a connection between the cases.
If there is a connection, then it might be related to our case. I begin to have ominous thoughts, and my expression darkens. But Detective Kurosawa doesn't probe into that topic. Perhaps he's the type of person who doesn't judge people based on evidence, but gets a feel for them through conversation and actions. How am I reflected in his eyes? I can't help but wonder. Detective Kurosawa goes inside the Inaba police station while I wait. It's in the car near the junkyard. The familiar sights of Inaba seem strange somehow. The detective in charge of this case must be none other than Dojima-san. Detective Ryotaro Dojima. Of course I'm familiar with him. And not just through our profession. Dojima-san acted as Yu-senpai's guardian while he stayed in Inaba. I feel like I'm betraying him as well, and can't stop myself from sighing again. Soon enough, Detective Kurosawa steps out of the station. I thought he was coming back. But halfway to the car, he turns and walks into the junkyard. I wonder what he's doing. I stick my head out the window and try to track him. There's another car parked behind a pile of junk. That distinctive grill style. That's Kirijo-san's limousine. I hurriedly pull my head back into the car. That's right, Detective Kurosawa came here to cooperate with Kirijo-san. But still, to bring me along and park so close to her is... Then again, it's very unnatural to park far from a rendezvous point. Excuse me, Detective Kurosawa made the right decision. I calm down and slide into the rear seat, keeping my head low. Still, Kirijo-san uses that black limousine while undertaking her shadow operative's duties as well. That car sticks out like a sore thumb here in Inaba. Heck, it's distinctive anywhere in Japan. Why would someone as clever as Kirijo-san take that car on a special mission like this? Does she have some profound reasoning behind it? Nope. After a while, Detective Kurosawa finally comes back to the car.
Son, may I ask you something? Why are you working with public safety?
You're asking that now? I thought that would be your very first question.
After wiping a dry smile from his face, Detective Kurosawa turns to me with an incredibly serious expression.
Spy on Mitsuru Kirijo and her shadow operatives to your heart's content and never find anything suspicious. But for that to be understood, at some point or another, everything she does has to be investigated to eliminate those doubts. In which case, it's better someone like you do the investigating than someone official who will never understand. That's all there is to it.
So he does have his reasons after all.
Thank you for your cooperation.
I'll leave the rest in your hands.
I exit the vehicle. Kurosawa-san takes his car onto the highway and speeds out of sight. He has no doubts whatsoever regarding Kirijo-san's activities. To be honest, I'm inclined to agree with him. But I can't jump to conclusions without any evidence. I use heaps of junk to cover to sneak close to the limousine and watch. Not long after, I see two people exit the vehicle. One of them is Kirijo-san. The other, unlike when I saw her at the airport, she's wearing equipment likely suited for combat. The other person looks strange.
Is that the fabled humanoid weapon?
P4A best girl! There was information about a humanoid weapon mixed in with all the data I had about the Kirijo group. When I first saw it, I was confused. But that had to be what was standing in front of me. It seems natural, almost lifelike, but there's no denying that it's an artificial construct. It seems that the rumor of an unorthodox anti-shadow unit were true. Another man comes to join them soon. He too was dressed in outlandish attire. He was shirtless and wore a red cloak like a desert nomad. The perfect example of someone who ought to be detained for questioning. I compare his face to the list of pictures of people involved in the situation. While his taste in clothing has changed, I believe that this man is Akihiko Sanada. I can't imagine what would possess him to go about dressed like that, but I speculate about their actions. What business do they have here in a junkyard? They're shopping for the greatest deals, of course. Like, look at that. They're clearly shopping for a flat screen TV. There's nothing here but a pile of broken household electronics and abandoned televisions. Then it hits me. Detective Kurosawa had told Kirijo-san about last year's incident. And of course, she has prior knowledge of personas and shadows. Then no doubt she's heard of the idea of entering the TV world. After all, it appeared as many times in the testimony of the killer from last year. Dojima-san may have disregarded it for being too far-fetched, but Detective Kurosawa must have caught on. I take a closer look. There's a mountain of old television sets. The victims of last year switched to digital broadcast.
Planning to enter a TV from here, are they?
Even as I say that, the mechanical girl already has her hand sticking into a TV screen. It's exactly as I thought. The mere fact that they are testing what they heard so recently cannot bode well. Uncertainty crosses my mind. The three of them are clearly preparing to enter the television. Should I blow my cover and warn them about what they're doing? If they enter, they may not be able to leave. But the other world should no longer be dangerous anymore. And I heard from Yosuke-senpai that he asked Teddy to leave the exit TV out just in case. If they're Persona users, they should be able to handle the shadows. They shouldn't be in peril, but Kirijo-san made a decision faster than I could.
The other members will wait here in the car.
Yeah. If we all barge in and something happens, we'll be devastated.
Now that you mention it, at least one of us should be staying behind as well.
I am not staying.
P3 best girl.
Us three will be plenty. We'll end this in a flash. No problem.
The same as always. Although, we have no idea what might be waiting for us on the other side. Don't get careless.
Right.
This situation, it brings back memories.
Ready!
Why enter the TV? What's going on?
I stand there blankly.
Stolen cargo inside the TV?
Should I chase after them? If I turn back here, we may never be able to find the three of them again. And if that happens, the truth about the case will be lost forever. If a property was placed into the TV world, it means that whoever stole it knows the truth about last year's events. And if that's the case, I can't ignore this, no matter what my assigned task is. Plus,
If they're determined to enter the TV despite not knowing the risks, I can hardly allow cowardice to prevent me from following.
I realize that the straw breaking the camel's back is not logic, but my pride. I smiled at myself. But my mind was made up. I stand up, look around, and then step inside the same television they used. Okay, before we resume, I am going to quickly take a bio break. Give me a sec, everyone. Alright, I'm back. I also took off my jacket. It was getting kind of warm in my room. It's been a while since I felt this falling sensation. But this time, the sensation seems to continue longer than it did when I would enter a TV as part of the investigation team. Before I know it, the falling has ended. I take cover behind a pillar and look around for the three shadow operatives. Did I lose them? We all entered from the same television, so we should have arrived in the same place. I relax a little and take a look around. When I stand up, I notice it. It's difficult to believe. I take a good hard look. This is a school. How many people have landed up at the front gates? And not only that, but...
Sogami High School? What's going on?
This is the gate to the school I attend. The familiar school building is inside. But there is something unfamiliar out in front. There's a stack of strange monitors. They're all displaying the words P1 Grand Prix. This place looks like the real world, but there's something warped about it. It feels like the world is dangerous again, like it was while we were investigating the incident. But this world has returned to the way it was before. While I'm thinking this, students come walking out of the building. They gather together, and soon the area is filled with people.
Impossible. How could there be this many people in the TV world?
Suddenly, the students surround me and start cheering. It's all too familiar. I see an all too familiar burst of static play across the monitors.
Rivals. They are friends, yet powerful foes. The desperate fighting program amongst high school students. A new legend is about to start.
May the manliest of all men come on down!
Nobody touches his precious Nanako, the sister complex kingpin of steel, Yu Narukami!
It's only natural.
Wage slave in the boonies by day, hero by night, Captain Resentiment, Yosuke Hanamura!
Everything that bores me has gotta go!
A spunky dragon with deadly legs, the carnivore whose discarded womanhood, Chie Satonaka!
You need to eat more meat!
Please escort me to the ring, my prince, the unconquerable Snow Black, Yukiko Amagi!
I'll finish you in one strike!
Blooming roses and bulging muscles, the blood-curdling beefcake emperor, Kanji Tatsumi!
Deep into realms of romance.
The body of a child, the brain of a genius, the 2000 IQ Killjoy detective, Naoto Shirogane!
Is this an army of idiots?
Fight and survive towards the one throne waiting at the end! The P1 Grand Prix where fierce fights will be fought! The battle begins tonight!
What?
Killjoy detective? The shock leaves me dumbfounded for a while. Plus you, senpai, sister complex kingpin? Well, it's true that... No, calm down, Naoto. Calm down and analyze the situation. This otherworldly program where real people's foibles are exaggerated into unworldly proportions. The static before the video made it very clear. This broadcast could only be the Midnight Channel. And what was the fighting tournament about? The members of the investigation team are the combatants?
It seemed that Teddy was acting as the host for this.
All of us should know that Senpai is coming back to Inaba during Golden Week. All of us know that Senpai is coming back to Inaba during Golden Week. Then could this be some kind of way to welcome him back? No. Calling him a sister complex kingpin? That's not a welcome, that's a challenge. Who would publicize a negative nickname like that? Besides, whatever the reason, I can't imagine that someone would seriously want us all to fight each other. What is going on? Does it mean that the rest of them are in the TV world as well? Without warning, the sound of microphone and feedback pierces my ears. Pierce mine too. Ow!
Hello, boys and girls of Yasogami. Sorry for the wait.
That voice. That's Rise-san.
The students go wild. My voice broke, sorry. On the monitors, Teddy appears to be wearing some sort of costume.
I'm proud to announce the commencement of our very own P1 Grand Prix!
It looks like Rise-san and Teddy, they are the ones running this. Do they really plan on holding this P1 Grand Prix?
And now the moment you've all been waiting for, the challenger in our first battle.
If that promotional video is correct, then the members of the investigation then are the members of the investigation team going to show up? Just as I lean forward to see what's going on, the spotlight shines directly into my face, blinding me.
Naoto Shirogane!
What?
The students around me raise their fists to the air and shout. This is a pickle. It seems that I won't be able to chase Killjoy-san down at this rate. First the plane hijacking and now another unforeseen interruption.
Come on down now, Chan!
Teddy, what is the meaning of this?
Didn't you watch the intro video? It's a fighting tournament.
I gathered as much, but I was asking why you would do such a thing. Pitting friend against friend in battle is going too far for a joke.
It's not a joke, though. I'm giving this 100%, just like I always do. Now get out there now, Chan. Show me everything you've got.
You're not making any sense. Besides, there's...
While I'm speaking, I see the area in front of me twist. I close my eyes at once. When I open them, I see that only certain things around me have been warped by whatever that was. The scene on the monitors, the students around me. I blink and rub my eyes, but soon realize that my eyes aren't playing tricks on me.
Are these students an illusion someone is creating?
With their skins missing, the students have become dark shapes that only resemble a human form. Are these shadows of some sort? Well, I do find it hard to believe that so many people could have wandered into the TV world. Even if this many people did get in here, the town would be in an uproar over the mass disappearance of so many students. It makes more sense for them to be shadows, but if that's the case, why did I see them as students? Could it be... Teddy and Rise both have the power to interfere with other people's thoughts to a certain extent. It may be possible for them to be projecting illusions into my mind, but that would prove that the two of them really are the hosts of this show. I decide not to jump to any conclusions for now. Even if the two of them are behind this, why would they hold a tournament and deceive me with illusions? I won't be able to figure out anything until I determine what their objective is. As I'm considering my next course of action, Teddy, or should I say General Teddy, speaks directly to me.
What are you all fidgety for now, Chan? You need to powder your nose?
No! Anyway, if this is not a joke, can I assume you won't easily let me go?
Bingo! You have to win the fight if you want to move on. Only the one who makes it to the very end is set free!
This is getting me nowhere. Talking to him isn't helping me figure out what's going on here.
Let's get this started! Bring out the first opponent!
Another spotlight appears across from me. A person steps out of the darkness and...
It's been a while, Naoto.
Senpai? Why are you here?
I promised I'd come back during Golden Week. Don't tell me you forgot.
No. Of course I remembered. It's just, I didn't expect to see you here.
I could say the same thing. I heard you couldn't make it because of your job.
Yes, Actually, I'm here on matters related to my work. It came as a surprise to me as well.
Looks like you're as uninterested in socializing as always.
Huh? What did he just say?
Everyone says that though they think of you as a friend, they never get the same vibe from you.
That's not true. I just happen to be busy with a case. But really, now's not...
Work. I guess work's all you care about in the end, even now. I'd say you're more concerned with your work than us. I get it. Hanging out with people outside work is a burden for you. It's like an invasion of your privacy.
Senpai?
He's not the type of person to speak so poorly of others, is he? Is this an illusion too?
Relax. I'll help get you knocked out of the tournament so you can get back to the work you love so much.
He summoned his persona.
What? Are you serious?
Senpai attacked me with his persona. That wasn't an illusion, it was real. If he'd hit at me, it would have been, I would have been seriously hurt. But now I know something. He's clearly not in his right mind right now. The leader of the investigation team I knew would never, under any circumstance, harm his friends.
What do you mean this is turning into? If I must fight you, I will.